I was still wearing his hoodie when I crossed the line for the first time. It hung on me like a ghost of the life I was still pretending to live. Oversized, soft, familiar, it smelled like home. Like laundry detergent, the faint hint of his cologne, and the life we'd built together. I pulled the sleeves over my hands in the elevator, like I was trying to hide inside it. Maybe I thought if I kept part of him with me, what I was about to do wouldn't feel so real. But it did. And that made it worse. It was a gray Tuesday. The kind that feels like the world is pressing pause. No sun, no wind, just stillness that hums in your bones. The kind where nothing feels quite real. The kind of day where things begin to crack quietly, not with thunder or lightning, but with a subtle, almost polite unraveling. Ben had kissed me on the forehead before leaving. His hand lingered a second longer on my cheek. He told me to rest, said he'd take care of dinner, pick up the kids, handle bath time. "You've been doing too much," he said. "Let me take this one." And he smiled, that easy, dependable smile I used to love. An hour later, I was in someone else's apartment. The windows were shut, the curtains drawn. The doors locked like that could keep guilt from slipping in. I remember how quiet it was, the hum of the fridge, the low whir of traffic outside. And my heart, thudding like it knew something I wouldn't admit. I shouldn't have been there. But I was. His name was Jake. And he was wrong for me in every conceivable way. That, I think, was the draw. Where Ben was steady, Jake was wildfire. Where Ben planned meals and playdates, Jake made no plans at all. With Ben, everything had structure. Calendars, grocery lists, school pickups, a life built on consistency and care. But with Jake there was no past and no future. Only heat, chaos, and the electric danger of now. That first time we barely spoke. We didn't need to. It was all eyes, breath, tension. That charged silence between two people on the edge of something irreversible. I let it happen. Every second of it. I crossed a line I could never uncross. And I didn't stumble. Walk. Steady, deliberate, wearing the hoodie of the man who still believed in me. You'd think I'd feel guilt. But I didn't. Not that day. That day I felt alive. Like something had finally pierced the numbness. Walking home after, I looked up and the sky felt like it was in high definition. Colors sharper, sounds louder. Even the guilt. But it didn't arrive right away. It waited. Like a polite guest. It knew I wasn't ready. Ben was already home when I got back. The kids were laughing in the living room. Dinner was warm on the table. He greeted me with a hug. Full, unguarded. I kissed his cheek. Told him, "Thank you for today." And he smiled. No suspicion in his eyes. Or at least that's what I told myself. The second time I told Ben I had a late meeting. There was no meeting. There was Jake. And a couch that sagged in the middle. My phone buzzed. "Ben, don't forget to eat something." I stared at it as Jake traced circles on my thigh. I sent back a heart emoji. Then turned off the screen. I wasn't ashamed. Not yet. In fact, the lying became part of the rush. The thrill wasn't just Jake. It was how invisible I felt. Untouchable. I started scheduling around it. Tuesdays, Thursdays. Sometimes in the middle of the day, in between school runs and grocery pickups. I wore perfume again. Bought new underwear. Told myself it was self-care. But it wasn't. It was for him. The man who wasn't mine. I built excuses like scaffolding. I'm tired. I don't feel seen. I'm more than a mom, a wife, a to-do list. Maybe all of that was true. But it doesn't excuse what I did. Because while I was out pretending to be someone else, Ben was home. Packing lunches, folding tiny socks, texting me memes, loving me in quiet, consistent ways. And that is the part one can't forgive myself for. The part that haunts me isn't the motel rooms or the kisses or the lies. It's how easy lying became. By the third time I didn't even flinch. I could look Ben in the eye, say, "Everything's fine," and almost believe it. Because it didn't feel like cheating. It felt like surviving. Ben never questioned me. Never looked through my phone. Never raised his voice. He just kept being good. Steady. And I started to believe I could live two lives. But I was wrong. The affair didn't stay small. It grew, quiet and patient, like mold in a corner you refused to check. Jake started texting at night. Just one word sometimes, craving. Sometimes a photo, a glance, a wrist, suggestion. It was never love. It was hunger. And I fed it. Ben believed me when I said I needed space for a side project. He started taking the kids out on Saturdays so I could have quiet. As soon as the door closed, I was gone. Jake and I upgraded from parked cars to hotel rooms. First cheap, then nicer ones. Ones with white sheets and big mirrors that reflected back a version of myself I barely recognized. I'd come home with bruises on my hips, my lipstick smeared in places I shouldn't name, and go straight to the grocery store. Buy milk, mail, pretend. Always pretending. Ben never stopped being kind. He noticed when I was tired. Put chargers in my purse. Folded my sweaters. Never asked questions. Or maybe he did silently. But that made it worse. How good he was. How undeserving I became. Jake started pushing. Asterisk, would you leave him? Do you think about us for real? Asterisk, I never answered. I didn't want real with Jake. I just wanted the escape. Then came that night, the one that split everything open. No occasion. Just candlelight. Real music. A handwritten note from Ben. Still choosing you every day. The kids were at their grandparents'. He'd cooked, poured wine, kissed him. And I felt nothing. Because that afternoon I had been in Jake's bed, still wearing the earrings Ben gave me for our anniversary. That was the first time I realized I was slipping. I texted Ben and called him the wrong name. He laughed. Autocorrect, he said. Laughed too. But inside. Panic. Still I didn't stop. Couldn't. The affair had become a part of who I was. A mask I wore to feel seen. Then Max fell. I missed 9 calls while lying in a motel bed. When I got to urgent care, Ben smiled like nothing was wrong. You made it. He's okay now. He handed me our son, and I held him like a lifeline. That night, Ben didn't accuse me. He rubbed my back, asked if I was okay. I lied again. But after that I stopped feeling powerful. I started feeling watched. Then came the photo. Me and Jake. Sidewalk cafe. Daylight. Smiling. Reaching across the table. Ben sent it with no caption. No comment. Just proof. I stared at it for hours before replying. That's not what it looks like. His response. Didn't say it was. And that was it. No anger. No yelling. Just silence. And that silence. Screamed. Jake became colder. The thrill turned mechanical. I didn't even want him anymore. But I didn't know how to stop. The affair that once gave me freedom had become a cage. Ben stopped texting during the day. He stopped writing notes. Stopped reaching for me at night. But he still smiled. Still made breakfast. Still said love you every morning. And I knew. He knew. He was waiting. And that was worse than any punishment I could have imagined. Because now, every second I live in this house, every smile I return, every dinner I eat at our table, I am a ghost in the life I ruined. Still wearing his hoodie. And it no longer feels like comfort. Feels like guilt. Woven into every thread.